We did a buddy read. Frank, you're not the most prolific.
Guys.
Just fix it. We'll cut that and we'll pick it back up. It'll be funny. We've got a special one for this book review. I have invited a good friend of mine to join me on this episode to talk about this very particular book. And so, Frank Del Corral, will you lift your witchy head and meet all of the viewers and listeners of Dragon Army Books? We're so glad to have you on the show.
Hey guys, I'm happy to be here. Dustin, I love the show. I watch so many of them, and so I'm honored that I'm a part of it.
You're very kind. I love you. Frank and I go way back to college. We met in college. In fact, I made him. I don't know if you like me telling people this. It's not like I tell it to everybody, but there was one year when we were at college. He lived a floor above me, but I made him stop by my room every night to tell me goodnight before he went to bed. And you did it almost every single night. Are you trying to make sure the
Tried to.
Yeah.
I tried to. I lived a whole floor above you, and so I had an alarm set. So I would go and say goodnight to you and to other people that were there, and then just right? It was other people there too, right?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, I had friends. You did too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyways, we formed a friendship there. Frank's also close friends with my wife. And Frank is I like the exuberant nodding just to get the hat in frame. So my question is, you're not the most prolific reader, right? Like, you're not reading all the time.
No, definitely not. I am the type of person, I don't know if anyone else that is watching this is like me, but I will start reading a book because we all want to read and we all want to, be in the know.
Sure.
But then I get to a really good part of the book and then I live in that moment. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the most incredible thing. And I stop completely because I think to myself, it's not going to get better than this. And so I just stop reading, and honestly, audiobooks are probably better for me, and that's what I did with this book.
Yeah, okay.
I did an audiobook.
So, we picked the book The Witches by Roald Dahl to read. So I do read a lot. You don't necessarily, but yeah, witches, that's the reason for the great hat. You don't read tons, but you like me as a friend, and then you liked watching Dragon Army Books, and so you're like, let's read a book together and then talk about it. And so we're trying to think.
100%. I saw an episode you did with Kara about the Wizard of Oz,
Right.
And
you wanted on that.
So yeah, you want to check that one out. If you haven't seen this one, that was my inspiration to come on the show because I wanted in on that. Exactly.
Right. So we picked a book that was relatively small, that was somewhat thematic. We're coming into the month of October. Halloween is your favorite holiday. It's my wife's favorite
100%.
holiday. And
Yes.
had you read this book before, or you had seen the movie, or both?
I saw the movie, so I'm an avid fan of the film. Jim Henson, he did all the masks and costumes and all that stuff. So it's a classic. I remember watching it as a kid, and so I knew every word practically when I rewatched it. It's actually on Netflix right now.
Yeah.
I saw it and I remembered everything of the film. So I thought, wow, I definitely want to read the book so to see if they match up. You know?
So before we get into talking about the book proper, let's talk about Roald Dahl, the author, just a little bit. He wrote some other huge books. Have you read any of them?
Super familiar with Willy Wonka, or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Excuse me for everybody that's literal. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, definitely super familiar. As a matter of fact, a picture is about to get on the screen right now. It's my last year's Halloween costume. I was an Oompa Loompa.
Yes.
And Halloween is my favorite holiday. So yeah, I'm definitely familiar with the author.
So I read Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I also read in elementary school The Great Glass Elevator, which is the second book in that series that a lot of people haven't, and I loved it. It was so good. James and the Giant Peach, Matilda. I feel like Matilda would be another thing you love.
James and the Giant Peach, I lived for as a kid.
Yeah.
I loved that movie. And then also you brought up Matilda, and I live for anything that that little girl that played Matilda was in.
Yeah.
So I want to say Mrs. Doubtfire. Yeah, I'm just a huge fan of her. I don't know her name, but she's the one that's like she's in Mrs. Doubtfire.
She's great. Does she do
But
anything
she's
anymore?
you know, I looked up an image of her that's also gonna pop up on the screen,
I
and
have to do all of this editing.
she actually, I don't know if she's still acting or not, but she looks like she still has her same face, but an adult.
Weird.
So who would have thought?
Who would have
Yeah,
thought?
you know, like child actors, you know, they
Yeah.
grow up. So yeah,
So, The Witches is his
yeah.
book that released in 1983 originally. So it's not too terribly old. It's before we were born, but it is. Let's talk about the story a little bit, about the plot, the
Hold
setup.
on. So Roald Dahl, did you know, was kind of problematic too? I
Most
read something about him,
authors.
and I mean, I guess so. So it's like I just want to make a disclaimer: we do not support Roald Dahl's opinions or ideologies. We just wanted to read the book, and that's what led us to do so. So
Thank you.
just
Thank
wanted to
you.
make that clear. Yeah.
So, for a little bit of the setup, help me out with this. It's a young boy, it's the story of a young boy who lives with his grandmother, and he comes into the discovery that witches are not fairy tale, witches are very real. And so, he and his grandmother go on a vacation, and while on that vacation, they end up finding themselves staying at the same hotel as the annual, I don't know if it's annual, but as the convention of witches. And so that's kind of like the setup, the plot. Is there anything that I missed there?
The grandma used to be a witch hunter,
Yeah.
and so that's why the concept of witches is so familiar to the main character, because his grandma was so infatuated with witches and she used to hunt them, and so she would tell him how to spot a witch, and so a whole part of the book is about how to spot a witch.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's true to this day, but
Some of
it's
those
in the book.
some of those things are, they have square feet, right?
Yeah, they have square feet. Another thing is they all wear wigs.
And
So they
gloves.
all wear wigs and they all wear gloves because their hands have the claws, you know, and they're all old,
And they're all bald.
decrepit type hands,
They're all
and
bald,
they're
so
all
that's why, yeah.
bald. So they're always scratching their heads. Another important thing to realize when you are spotting a witch is witches cannot stand children.
The smell.
And so they have an extra sense given to them through smelling, and the kids, the cleaner they are, smell like dogs dropping.
Yeah.
So if you ever pass by a woman, let's say, and she has gloves on, she has square toe type shoes, and she's holding her nose because she's smelling dogs droppings from a nearby child.
She might very well
Ultimately.
be a witch, yes. So we
Yeah.
will try to refrain from major spoilers, but one of the big story premise, like one of the main story points, is that in this convention of witches, this young boy gets caught in the same room as their meeting, and
Yeah.
turned quickly into a mouse. Is it a mouse or a rat? It's a mouse, right?
I want to say it's a mouse. The Grand High Witch says mouse, so I'm going to
Yeah.
go with that.
You should go with what the Grand High Witch says. And so the
There
rest.
is an iconic. The reason I say that, there's an iconic scene in the movie where she starts talking. Angelica Houston, a picture of Angelica Houston
No!
as the Grand High Witch is going to pop up on the screen right now, and she just talks about how the child turns into a mouse, and it's really iconic.
Yeah.
I recommend you watch the film. It's really fun.
So our main protagonist, as a young boy that is now turned mouse, along with another boy that's there on vacation with his family,
Right.
that's also turned into a mouse, have to work together with the grandmother to thwart the plans of all of these witches, because they're
Okay.
wanting to like take out all the kids because there's a new
In England,
Yeah.
period. They're
Period.
trying to get out all the kids,
all the children.
in all of England. The witches have had it. they don't want any more children. So the Grand High Witch is like, hey, I have the solution to get rid of all of the kids. And it's a grand high scheme, I'll say. And the book is just about how the main kid, what was his name again?
I asked you
Luke.
this,
Luke.
Luke. I still think that in the book Luke's name isn't there, but I might be mistaken. I might be mistaken.
I think that it's there, but I don't know. In the movie, his name is Luke.
Either way, that is the plot. Now, let's get on to some of the story elements. First,
Okay.
do you think? Here's what surprised me. It's a children's book, right? It's touted as a children's book. The majority
Yeah.
of Dahl's books are children novels, but this would scare any child that I know. Do you?
Frightening, you know. I think that every kid, and I could be wrong, kids, if you're watching this, or anyone who used to be a kid, comment below and tell us, did you have this same fear?
There will
The
be an
fear
image.
of-
There will be an image of children on
yeah,
the
that
screen
pops
right
up
now.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but being kidnapped to me was always a huge fear of mine. I just was always scared something was going to happen to me. And so when I was listening to the book, because I didn't read it, it brought that fear back of being a kid and being alone, away from your parents or away from your loved ones, away from your guardians, and being surrounded and being in a helpless scenario. And that is ultimately what happens to the protagonist in this story.
Yeah. So it's really scary and it's really dark, and some of the, I mean, that's the whole premise. It's that it's witches, the things that you've heard of are very real. And so that it only goes from there, and it's dark, and like the witches, oh, so like the Grand High Witch, because other witches annoy her, just completely destroy them. That's another iconic scene in the movie as well.
Iconic. She's
Which-
like, who's oh?
Which, hey, by the way, the movie is pretty faithful to the book, like almost scene for scene, I felt.
I would agree with you. I do want to say also another thing that might be happening. I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard that they were remaking the movie, and I heard it was supposed to drop this year. Maybe it's prolonged because of COVID-19, but Anne Hathaway
That's
was
huge.
meant or was cast as being the Grand High Witch. So I would like to see her
Yes.
do her thing.
One of the things that I was surprised, well, a couple of things of the differences between movie and book was, one, there was in the movie a big, I don't know about a big character, but the assistant of the Grand High Witch was a prominent character.
Not in the book.
Not in the book.
Not in the book.
And then, as we've already talked about off camera, the ending to the movie and the book are very different.
Completely different. And
Very different.
I'll be honest with you, Dustin and viewers, I prefer the book ending over the movie ending. So if you have not read the book, but you've seen the movie like me, you will be surprised.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised.
One of my favorite things from the book was probably the relationship between the boy and his grandmother. I thought, because they work together to overcome the evil that's in the hotel, and her care for him, but also his love and respect for her. I'm going to tie this in. It's different, but it's somewhat connected. I just love that Luke does not care that he has become a mouse. Like, it's totally different than what you would expect in a lot of novels today. If something traumatic or dramatic happens, the character responds how you would think they should respond. In this book, Luke's like, cool, and then he never is sad about it. Like, he's like, this is kind of fun. I'm down for it. And those are probably two of the things that I enjoyed most.
I like to see how these women in the book are very strong characters.
Yeah.
I think that that's something important. So the grandma's super strong, but then her counterpart would be the Grand High Witch, who is also super strong. And it's this collision of good versus evil. And I think that the grandma, I love her in the book because she does not care at all. She smokes, she drinks, she gets sick, and she's like, forget this, like, I'm gonna do what I want, when I want, how I want to do it. And I think that rubs off on Luke because he in the face of danger is strong and he's brave, and I think he gets that from his grandma. So I
That's
think that
so good.
that character's really well written. Um, and then I like the Grand High Witch. I think that the way I just think that character's fun.
Yeah.
Dustin's wife is a an actress, and I would love to see her play that role because
She
I
would
think it would be so amazing
she would love
to
it.
be this beautiful facade, and then inwardly it's this like crypt keeper type
Yeah.
character. So, anyways, I like both those
I
things.
think I think all of that's really good. In summary, I think this is a fun book, a very quick and easy read, darker than what you would expect. And different than what you would expect. I wouldn't necessarily have like a child read it, but I think it would be a good middle grade book, like for a middle schooler. I think it could be really fun, or a mature, maybe like fifth grader, something along
30
those
year
lines,
old,
or
30-year
or
old.
30-year
It
old.
is frightening. I listened to it, okay, and it was. I won't say it was just. It's frightening,
Yeah,
But ultimately, I did text you a few times telling you, "Hey, I'm
I'm
scared,"
scared. I'm scared.
because it was scary. Like there's parts where it's definitely not for children, at least without supervision. If you're reading it with your child, then so be it, and I think that that's fine. But yes, maybe someone a little older would appreciate it a little more. I think it's iconic. I think if I was a kid, the way I was as a kid, I would have loved it too. But I loved all that kind of stuff. My parents did not care. They let me watch whatever I wanted. So we were just, you know, uh, it wasn't too frightening. Hence why I was obsessed with the movie.
Thank you so much for watching this book review of Roald Dahl's The Witches, and thank you, Frank, for coming on and talking with me about this book.
Thank you for having me, Dustin. I really appreciate it. Guys, in the comments section, let Dustin know if you want me to come back
Yeah,
with James and the Giant Peach.
that's what's up. Frank, where can people find you online? Do you want them to find you online?
Sure. I honestly, Dustin's gonna tag my social medias below. I'm not super active. I wish I was, but I don't have anything to plug.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely follow Dustin on his social media channels, and follow this YouTube channel. And if you're into games, follow his gaming channel. What
All
is the
right.
gaming channel, Dustin?
It's New Game Plus podcast. I appreciate you.
He's so modest. He's so modest, but honestly, it's nothing but entertainment. There are worlds that I don't even care about. I do not care about games, but I like watching y'all play. I don't necessarily care about books. I'm sorry, but I love watching this show. So I hope that you keep doing it. I'm proud of you, and yeah.
Thank you,
Let
Frank.
us know. Let us know in the comments if you want us to do Matilda.
No, but do let us know in the comments what the best Roald Dahl book is, and maybe we'll do that. But it's not. I'll have Frank on another time. It doesn't have to be
Or
Roald Dahl.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Thank you for watching and for liking this video. Click subscribe and join the Dragon Army if you haven't yet, and we'll see you in the next video.
Peace.